David, Suzanna, good to see you both. Thanks so much for your time.
You
Thank
too, man.
you.
Thanks.
David, I want to know because you have a really cool body of work, different worlds, different characters. But, you know, horror movies have always been around, but there's this big kind of surge in popularity in the genre now, right? And, you know, movies like Fear Street Prom Queen are coming out that are so exciting for everyone. What's that like working in the genre of horror movies at a time where there's a big appetite for them, so to speak?
Yeah, great question. I think it's pretty great. It feels so much fun. It feels very exciting to like see different artists take on the genre, like Matt Palmer and his approach to directing. Yeah, I'm very proud to be a part of this movie.
Absolutely. Susanna, I love your character in this film. Congratulations. And, you know, that script to screen journey is always interesting, right? Because, you know, maybe this character reads a certain way and then it comes to life while you go into production and it changes a little bit. What's that like kind of reading this character and then seeing it come to life and while you're filming the movie, so to speak?
Yeah, reading it, you just get a general idea, but I try not to get too locked into anything because, like you said, you just never know. But it's about finding it on set that's the most fun to me. Talking to the director, talking to India, and seeing, you know, how do you see them together? What does this remind you of in your past? I love when we get into like stories of our past, bring that in. It's beautiful.
David, do you think about the fact that you are part of a world that has existed before with, you know, the books and the previous Netflix Fear Street films? Like, do you think about that, like the original source material? Do you kind of go in fresh and think about it just as like its own kind of thing? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, great question. I think you know, I don't think I was actively thinking about it that much like while we were there, but I think kind of passively just because of the world that was built and the school that we were in and all the little Easter eggs that they kind of hid in the set and stuff like that. I think the set designers and the director and the writer, they all did such a good job of like really steeping this story in the world, but not making it so much about the world. So yeah, I think it was definitely up here, but it kind of subconsciously informed my choices, I think.
Absolutely. Susanna, what is that mindset of going back in time for a role? Because there's a lot at play, right? There's the production design, there's the costumes, the clothes and everything. There's the music. The soundtrack of this movie is so good. Like I can't wait for people to check it out. What is that kind of preparation like going back in time for a role like the 80s with this one?
You know, it's actually pretty easy for me as an actor because I feel like everything is given to me, right? I'm given this hair and makeup. I'm given this costume. I'm given these like vintage props. So there's not much I have to do other than just live in that space. It's almost harder to do something modern. You know?
David, how do you balance reading kind of your character's kind of storyline and breakdown with certain characters at the prom versus the overall kind of story that might not have to do with your characters? Because those are two different things when you're reading the script.
Yeah, totally. I think, you know, there's some essential facts that are like learned about one's character in the script even when they're not there. So I think it's important to kind of keep all that in mind. I think it informs each character's choice and all that. But, you know, I think on the day when you're on set, you're really just, at least me, I'm really just focusing on the other person that I'm there with and putting all my attention on them. And having done all the, you know, script work and stuff, just letting that like inform how I'm talking to this person.
Yeah. And I know, Susanna, you try not to do this, but, you know, the audience member, you know, we're watching this, it's a whodunit, we're detectives watching this film, right? Figuring out who the killer is. When do you start thinking about the audience? Are you ever conscious of the audience member watching Fear Street Prom Queen while you're making it? Is it a before thing, an after thing? Like, I'm just curious about that.
Sure, yeah, there's little moments that come in when you're shooting, like, oh, what are people gonna think of that? Or do you think people will believe that? Or, yeah, it comes in, but you can't think
See,
about
that's
it
the
much.
root of the question. I'm so happy you answered it that way because usually people are like, no, like it's not I don't do that when I'm on set, but that's kind of what I mean. You know what I mean? Because there's some things that are gonna be like, whoa, people are gonna freak out about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you did that because usually that's such a 50-50 question. Some people are like, no, never. You know, that's
bluffing.
I just go
We're chatting about it. We're chatting.
Thank you for keeping that question alive. Thank you for this film. Congratulations to both of you. I can't wait for everyone to see Fear Street Prom Queen on Netflix. Good to see you both. Thanks so much.
You too, man. Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.